Apartment Association of Fort Wayne in Northeast Indiana. I grew up in the rental industry, my grandfather building 2 apartment communities that are still locally owned and managed today. I've seen firsthand the balancing act of keeping expenses low while still being able to provide good, safe, affordable housing in the community. An expense that we cannot control is property taxes. Over the years, rental housing has paid an inordinate share of property taxes. Not only have property taxes been high for our industry, they have also been a moving target. We have heard the arguments against the property tax caps, but we're not buying them. We believe that through expense consolidation and other means, municipalities and school districts can continue to operate at a high level. Renters pay for property taxes through their monthly rent. Tax caps provide some much needed relief, and making them permanent in the Indiana Constitution will give us certainty as we put together our annual budgets. Voting yes on question 1 gives everyone certainty. It will help rental property owners and management companies keep rents down and expenses down. For decades, apartments have provided a housing option in Indiana, and the tax caps are an important step so that we can continue to offer affordable housing to Hoosiers for generations to come. Vote yes on question 1, November 2nd. Thank you.
I'm Christine Schaefer, and welcome to my front yard. I am a taxpayer. In fact, the property tax caps just on my street, which has 55 homes, it's a total of 67.3% of us are getting a tax credit because of the tax cap. But what is this all about? What it is we Hoosiers need permanent protection. The broken property tax system has been on the public policy agenda for decades. Each time action has been taken in the name of reform, property taxes have crept back up and replacement taxes have remained. Amending the property tax caps into the state's constitution will ensure Hoosiers against a backward slide from the historic reform package that was approved in 2008. We Hoosiers need certainty and stability. Homeowners are hurting. Foreclosure rates remain unacceptably high, and home prices remain stagnant. The largest source of most Hoosiers' wealth, their home, is threatened. Tax caps remove the volatility from the property tax system. They also provide predictability for businesses, which is a must when considering new investments. We Hoosiers need job growth. A study by Ball State University Center for Business and Economic Research says the property tax caps will create jobs by preserving nationally recognized and highly rated business tax climate that is ripe for investment. We Hoosiers need transparency. Part of the 2008 reform package moved court, school, and welfare costs to the state, allowing taxpayers to more easily determine who's responsible for local spending. Permanent tax caps ensure this transparency remains. And the caps pave the way for both the use of broad-based taxes to fund critical services and meaningful reform of the antiquated local government structure. We Hoosiers need a promise kept. When the state legislators provided property tax cuts through the 2008 reform package, they also raised the sales tax to ensure vital services like education would be adequately funded. In return, they promised that the property tax cuts would be permanent. Let's hold legislators to their promise and bring it home. Finally, let us Hoosier voters decide. Indiana cannot risk major cuts in critical services like education or public safety and still remain the high quality of life that Hoosiers want and deserve. The reform that brought about property tax caps provides a referendum process. So as long as local government can justify their projects to us voters, there is flexibility to ensure adequate services. So what can all of us do? On the November ballot, vote yes on question 1. I have the privilege of introducing Senator David Long. The senator started his political career in 1988 here in Fort Wayne as a city commissioner. In 1996, he was elected to the state senate. He now serves as Senate Pro Tem. Please welcome the Honorable Senator David Long.
Well, I unintentionally unnerved Christine this morning when I called at 10:25 and said, I'm down at the chamber and nobody's here. And so I had my wires crossed as far as where I was supposed to be. And I do apologize to anyone who was inconvenienced by my showing up a little late. There was a land speed record, however, set in going from downtown to Christine's house, so we'll leave it at that. But listen, the reason we're here today is very simple. It's to let the public know that the vote to place the tax caps into the Indiana Constitution on November 2nd is essentially a vote to either keep the tax caps or to lose them. Those who oppose the tax caps want Hoosiers to vote against putting the caps into the Constitution. Their argument sounds reasonable, which goes something like this. We just don't know the full extent and impact of property tax caps yet. Doesn't it make sense to wait and see what their impact is before we hustle in and put this into the Constitution? Translated, that means if we can convince the voters to vote against placing the caps into the Constitution, we're going to go directly into court and file a lawsuit and claim that the caps are unconstitutional. That is the goal. It's that simple. If the public fails to vote the tax caps into the Constitution, the opponents will file an immediate lawsuit, probably November 3rd, trying to get the caps declared unconstitutional. And the sad fact is that they actually have a shot at winning that argument. Now, why is that? It's because the current language in the Indiana Constitution says you cannot distinguish between different types of property when assessing property taxes. The tax caps call for a 1-2-3 system, as we know. 1% for residential, 2% for farms and apartments, and 3% for business. That system clearly distinguishes between different types of real property, which in the Indiana Constitution says you cannot do. That is what the opponents of the tax caps are counting on. That by not amending the Constitution, this problem will remain and they will attack it in the courts. But there's a simple solution to that. If we pass question 1 on November 2nd, the Constitution will be amended and any questions about the legality of the tax caps will be ended then and there. And there's absolutely no reason not to place the caps into the Constitution. The property tax is unquestionably the most unfair and unpopular tax in America. Property taxes rise regardless of the condition of the economy. You could earn half as much money this year, which unfortunately some people will be doing in Indiana and elsewhere, and at least your income tax will decrease to reflect the loss of income. Because you're buying less, your sales taxes will go down as well. But property taxes go up regardless of how bad the economy has been or how tough a year an individual has experienced financially. This is a particularly hard fact of life on seniors who depend upon fixed incomes and who cannot afford the ever-growing burden of runaway property taxes. The Indiana property tax cap plan is the most taxpayer-friendly concept that has come along in our state, perhaps any other state, maybe in the history of this country. It's that dynamic and that dramatic. Ball State University School of Business has done a thorough analysis of the tax caps, looking at the economic impact it would have on Indiana today and the future, and they have concluded unquestionably that tax caps will provide a tremendous economic benefit to the future Indiana economy. Property tax caps, most importantly, put taxpayers first and government second. They must be preserved. And the only way to ensure that is to vote yes on November 2nd on question 1 to put the tax caps into the Indiana Constitution. Purely and simply, if you want your property taxes to remain low today and in the future, vote yes on question 1.